Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most genuinely baffling decisions in modern television history. We're going to dive deep into the story of a beloved show's totally unexpected end, an unprecedented financial sacrifice by its cast, and what the future actually holds for the iconic Regan family.
So think about this for a second, because it's quite the paradox. How exactly does the TV show that is sitting comfortably as the sixth most popular series on broadcast television suddenly get handed a cancellation notice? In November 2023, CBS dropped this exact bombshell on millions of fans, not to mention a completely stunned cast. It completely defies standard television logic, right? Well, to understand the why, we really have to look at what was actually lost.
Section 1. A ratings powerhouse canceled.
For 14 seasons, Blue Bloods wasn't just another show. It was literally a cornerstone of Sunday night television. You had the Regans, this multi-generational New York City law enforcement family, all spearheaded by Tom Selleck's police commissioner Frank Regan. And alongside Donnie Wahlberg, Bridget Moynihan, and Will Estes, this cast delivered a perfect blend of a police procedural mixed with tight-knit family drama. And man, that formula worked. It was a certified ratings powerhouse. It is incredibly rare for a series in its 15th year to hold on to that kind of audience. Tom Selleck himself put it really bluntly. He pointed out that if you take NFL football out of the broadcast equation, Blue Bloods was the sixth most popular series in all of television.
Here's the wild part, though. It wasn't the audience that failed the show. It was the balance sheet. The harsh reality of the TV business just came crashing down on the Regans. The sheer financial weight of producing a high-quality drama, especially with those incredibly expensive on-location shoots in New York City, basically made the show too costly for the network to sustain. So, the ratings were top 10 for sure, but the reality? The reality was a cancellation notice.
Let's move to Section 2, the unprecedented pay cut. Because when the cast heard about these financial hurdles, they didn't just pack up their dressing rooms and go home. In July 2026, Tom Selleck went on Ted Danson's podcast, Where Everybody Knows Your Name, and dropped an absolute bombshell that completely reframes this entire cancellation story. The entire cast and the production team had collectively agreed to slash their own salaries by 25%, just to keep the show on the air. Think about the magnitude of that sacrifice for a second. In an industry where salary disputes usually end shows, this cast took a pay cut to save theirs. To really anchor this in reality, here are Tom Selleck's exact words. He said, "The real truth to that is, in the last year of Blue Bloods, at our last family dinner, everybody wanted to come back. We'd already taken a 25% cut in salary." He even revealed they had already been doing all sorts of things behind the scenes just to keep the cameras rolling. What's truly remarkable here is what this says about their workplace culture. As Selleck pointed out, this is so incredibly rare. Usually, long-running shows become pretty miserable to work on, you know? Egos inflate, people clash, the environment turns toxic. But not Blue Bloods. After 14 years, they were so united they were willing to take a massive financial hit just to stay together. Keeping a cast that intact and that happy for that long, that is practically a Hollywood record.
Section 3. Tom Selleck speaks out.
But as we know, even that unprecedented sacrifice just wasn't enough. The network pulled the plug anyway, splitting the final season into two parts that wrapped up in December 2024. And Tom Selleck, he has absolutely not gone quietly into the night. In a 2025 interview with Our Detroit, he didn't mince words, saying, "It was a huge disappointment, and I still don't know why CBS did it." You can really feel his blunt disbelief there. Even years later, the star and patriarch of the show just cannot reconcile the network's financial logic with the show's undeniable, proven success.
And that frustration was brewing even while they were filming those final moments. Back in October 2024, he told TV Insider, "I'm kind of frustrated. During those last 8 shows, I haven't wanted to talk about an ending for Blue Bloods, but about it still being wildly successful." He wanted the narrative to be about their massive triumph, not their forced retirement.
It all really culminates in this profound realization for Selleck. He said, "My frustration is the show was always taken for granted because it performed from the get-go." Think about that. Because they were so incredibly consistent, because they always delivered those huge ratings, it felt like the network just stopped appreciating what a miracle it is to have a guaranteed hit in the first place. Selleck wasn't done. The fans certainly weren't done. But the decision was completely out of their hands.
Which brings us to Section 4. The Boston Blue spinoff. You know how television works, right? a highly lucrative intellectual property rarely just dies completely. Let's shift gears and look at how the Regan family legacy is adapting right now. We have those bittersweet final episodes wrapping up in December 2024. Then, from 2024 to 2026, we see Selleck's very vocal, very understandable frustrations. But right in the middle of all that, in October 2025, CBS greenlit and premiered a brand new chapter, the spin-off series, Boston Blue.
So, what exactly is Boston Blue? It centers on Donnie Wahlberg's character, Detective Danny Regan, as he relocates to the Boston Police Department. The show is definitely keeping the family ties alive, with Bridget Moynihan already making a guest appearance as Erin Regan. And this is key. Donnie Wahlberg actually consulted Tom Selleck to get his blessing before taking the role. Selleck was super supportive of Wahlberg, but when it comes to actually appearing on the new show himself, well, he remains totally uncommitted.
Selleck's own words kind of explain his hesitation here. While he has left the door open, just a crack, saying he's open to suggestions, he told the press, "I don't think it's my lot in life to keep playing Frank Regan." He actually feels his main duty right now is just ensuring Blue Blood secures its rightful place in television history. Moving forward, he's eyeing entirely new challenges. He's mentioned potentially looking into a comedy or even a Western.
Let's wrap things up with Section 5, the final goodbye.
Let's actually mentally step onto that set in late 2024. The final day of filming was incredibly poignant. Fittingly, the very last scene they shot was a family dinner. That is the exact same type of scene Tom Selleck shot on his very first day 15 years earlier. When the director called the final cut, Selleck recited a poem he had specifically saved for this occasion, Love Is Not All by Edna St. Vincent Millay. And what followed was just a massive wave of pure emotion. There were tears, a ton of hugs, speeches from cast members like Bridget Moynihan, and a deeply, deeply broken up Donnie Wahlberg.
Selleck summarized that final, tearful day with this amazingly simple but powerful statement. Blue Bloods was a labor of love, I think for everybody. It really just proves that for this group, showing up to set wasn't just a job you clock in and out of. They became a real family off-screen, completely mirroring the one they portrayed on-screen. And that family, they just weren't ready to say goodbye.
So, as we close out this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. If an unprecedented 25% pay cut from a wildly devoted cast cannot save a show that legitimately ranks in the top 10 in its 15th year, what exactly does this mean for the future of network television? Are the days of the long-running, location-heavy broadcast drama just completely over? And even as Boston Blue carries the torch forward, is this truly the definitive end for Frank Regan? It's a pretty harsh business reality, and it definitely leaves us with a lot to consider. Thanks so much for joining me to explore the human stories behind the headlines today, and as always, keep questioning what's behind the screen.